So, you think you can do hair? Then join us every Monday at 12 o'clock on the Afro Hair Science YouTube channel. Oh, what are you waiting for? Oh, that's my jam right there. I be looking for that jam like every day, all day. That's my jam right there. What's happening? What's happening, good people? How you good guys doing out there? Y'all know who it is, right? It's me, your homegirl, Ladosha, Wright, aka Key Lolo, and we are into our 13th episode of So You Think You Can Do Hair? We are on America's favorite podcast about Afro hair. It's me, Ladosha, Wright, aka Key Lolo, and then right over there, gotta get my finger. Always gotta get it just to the line. Right there is Cheryl Morrow, the one and only, the hair oracle. So how are things happening and popping over in sunny Southern California?
It's early.
It's early.
Yeah.
It's early. It's early. Okay, we're gonna have to wake up some more of them Californians. What's up, Vaughn the beautician? How you doing? Welcome to the chat. This is a wonderful, wonderful discussion today. It's all about apprenticeship and training and career coaching. This is the part of the industry where we're just like, man, listen. I just spent all this money on this education, and now y'all come talking about we need some more education. Folks are just kind of fed up with that. But before we hop into the topic, I try to go online and kind of see what's happening in the world of cosmetology and barbering education, and I'm going to just share my screen because I came across. In March, they had a congressional summit and Hill Day 2024. I actually participated in one of those events. I think it was back in maybe like 2009 or something, 2008. And it was very powerful. So if you are a barber or a cosmetology student, there's a lots of ways that you can let your lawmakers know why the education in barbering, cosmetology, nails, and skincare is truly, truly, truly important. And remember now, if you email Cheryl and I at afrohairscience@gmail, let me put that up in the thing so you guys can see it. We have some wonderful information to share with you guys as well. So we want you guys to become partners with us because we are here for you. There's so much, crappy information out here about Afro hair, and everybody's wondering like, well, where can I go and get the truth? It's not on YouTube. It's not on Google. I can't find it. Don't worry. Me and Cheryl got you faded. So just email us right here at afrohairscience@gmail, and we're working on the Afro Hair Science Summit website right now. And last week, we asked for some emails. We sent out a little form on how to build your career. So we've got some wonderful resources here and information. Ain't that right, Cheryl?
Absolutely.
All right.
This is making sure that you're informed. You got some good information to start with if you're starting your own project.
Right. Stuff. And we got my bosses in the chat. What's up, Lavina? Lavina's in the chat saying, y'all better hit that thumbs up button. I see some of you guys are coming through, so feel free to go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. But I'm going to take the opportunity to share my screen just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And then we're going to get right into the topic. Again, this is our 13th episode here on So You Think You Can Do Hair. And this particular podcast is specifically for students in the world of barber and beauty, and also school owners, and as well as instructors and educators and all that good stuff. Okay, so let me just share this right quick. There it is. All right, so here we go. This was Summit Hill Day 2024. And so what happens is members of Congress, they bring their staff. When I come back next week, I'll show some pictures. And what they do is they actually have a room that they kind of set up, in the Capitol, And then they have chairs, and tables, and all of the aides and, the staff, maybe even some Congress people, believe it or not, they come into this big room, and then companies have donated all of the like the polish and the files and the blow dryers and all this stuff, that we need. And we actually service them while they're there. Just little snip here and there, not hair, but snippets of what we need. And they have a few seconds. They sit at the table, and then you just kind of talk to them, and they invite all different types of people from the industry. And there it is. It says, receive briefing from members of Congress, their staff, administration, and Department of Education officials. Then share your knowledge of our sector of education with your members on Capitol Hill. It's really cool. It's a really cool event. So, like, I don't know about that. I'm like, Cheryl, come in. Earth to Cheryl. What do you think about being able to talk to the lawmakers? I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I know it's cool. I don't know how effective, it is without any organization on our part. So, it's cool as an individual, but we need more beauty, organizations, so we can be well represented, to make sure that we can control the agenda and the narrative.
And how do you think we should go about doing that? I mean, that's what we're here for. So let's throw it out
Right.
there. Come on, don't be scared. Don't be shy.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people who have, light minds, like us. We have our agenda. We want more education. I think that we're going to be doing that, in a couple of weeks, right? In Columbus. And I just think that the organization factor is so much more effective going into the political process.
And you like that because numbers is what it's all about. You believe that when there's a show of a collective force, then you kind of have more impact on the lawmakers. Is that what you're saying?
I just think that once the collective agrees on what is the first step for us getting what it is that we want, and in the organization process, we get to decide what it is we want. And then we begin to organize the message. Then we can pick and choose our politicians in which region that we're going to, start with. And so it just becomes more of a serious, more impact when you have that in place first.
Well, so perhaps, maybe that's something that we can begin. I wrote down, it was just 4 simple steps of what she's saying that it takes. And basically in that galvanizing effort, she said, it's not really about a whole bunch of people sitting in the room saying, hell no, we won't go. She said, no, I'm not quite talking about that, Key Lola. Y'all know me. I'm like, charge, let's go do it. She says, slow down, Fido. She says, what it's going to take, it's not just numbers, but it's definitely going to take a collective on what, and then we pick something that we agree upon. And then we're going to talk about what exactly, hone in on exactly what that is, give it, be more specific, as your mom would say. And then you want to organize from there. And then you pick and choose, your politicians, and where and how and when should this movement or this need in education or whatever we decide should actually be put into place. And I think that's pretty good. Perhaps we can begin to lay the groundwork to be able to do that and invite people who want to see those things happen. But in the meantime, this is something that they do this pretty often. I don't want to say every year because I'm not a part of this organization here. And I think this is the American Association of Cosmetology Schools. So this is something that they actually put on. They're kind of like what Cheryl is saying, but they don't necessarily have it delineated out by way of a specific topic or an agenda per se, but at least they have a space in the room. To your point of having an organization, so you can quote unquote have a seat at the table. So I think I just thought that was pretty interesting to to share and get this conversation going because it's all about this is a struggle here for a lot of people in the beauty industry is that whole thing about continue education. What's up, Michelle Allen? How you doing? Welcome everybody in the chat. We're so glad you're here. This afternoon podcast is specifically for the students of the barber and beauty industry, and of course that includes nails and skin. And then, of course, if you are a instructor or a school owner, we don't teach at those places, but we are here to support the platform and the education in barbering and beauty aesthetics. And today's topic is it's all about this is Cheryl's lane, as you can see. She's out. She like, come on, Kilolo, build me up so I can just let loose. Y'all see her? She licking them chops to get these students ready for the world. Because I say the world of beauty and barber are waiting for these students. So let's talk about that because I think sometimes when you're in cosmetology and barbering school, and nail school and skincare school, you're pretty much, you're isolated to what comes to the door. But can you give the students, I mean, just keep it 100, Cheryl. What are they really going to be looking at, or facing when they get behind that chair in a real live barbershop, hair salon, nail spa, skincare spa? I think a lot of people don't realize that they're going to use just about every single thing in that book, but they just don't. So kind of talk to them about what is the reality, and that's going to build up to apprenticeship training and career coaching, which is this is your lane. So let's build them up. What are they really going to be looking at once they get out there?
Well, they're going to be looking at two things: competition. Okay. And I think one of the reasons why most people do probably go to the suites is because they don't want to deal with the surrounding competition.
Now hold on. Now, when you say surrounding competition, again, they is this now? If you are a barber or cosmetology student, let us know. Do you plan to go into a loft or into an actual workspace? So, explain to them, or can you tell us what do you mean by competition? Or, surrounding competition.
I can just remember it, and obviously these were about 25, 30 years ago when I first got to New York, right? And going into a floor where you have lots of people on the floor, right? And I remember being a newbie, right? But newbie in terms of in that salon and in that area, right? And I remember that, right? But I remember how styling and I can see the eyes like like on me when either cutting or whatever the case may be, right? And that can either bridge healthy camaraderie or it could breed kind of an unhealthy energy in competition. And so if you go into a salon with over 4 stylists, you have that to deal with. Okay. And if you're the new kid on the block, you are trying to make comrades, right? And healthy relationships with your newfound peers. And so, and I don't know if we think about how much of the politics that you should play in knowing what you're getting into, and that is what a mentor would be very good at, helping you deal with that. The second thing that they would be dealing with is the whole gamut's kind of reputation about exploitation and people just being clients and not you caring about them and you just want them to style and don't want to create a relationship. And so you kind of like inherit all the baggage of what people don't like. Okay.
Mm.
And so in that particular period of time when you're in school or apprentice or training or whatever the case may be, whatever level, you really have to think about your career in the long term and how you want to enter in terms of how you want to be different and how you want to solve some of these bad reputations and how you're going to be part of the solution. And so probably the competition is number one. Number two, you're going to inherit all of the bad stuff or what people don't like.
Right.
And then, right.
So here's what I would like to know. If you guys in the chat, either during the live or post the live, I have always wanted to know, why would you want to skip working in a hair salon and go straight into a space by yourself? I that is just something. Now I'm going to say professionally, I don't think that's a good idea on any level, but you do have the option to do that. After all, this is America. Make it great again. You can go out there and do what you want to do. It's like digital underground. Do what you like. So in the chat, just drop it in the chat. I would rather go and work by myself because, and you fill in the blanks, or no, I would much rather go into a hair salon because, and then you fill in the blank. Now I'm just going to give you my experience as we lead again into the topic. This is our 13th episode, and we are all about apprenticeship training and career coaching. Who needs it? Why do we need it? After all, I just spent 1,800 hours of school. Are you too serious with this podcast? For me, I recall the time when I went to interview, for a salon, and I came and I had my little, professional, little suit jacket, kind of like I have today, and I had a little attaché case, and I went into the hair salon. It was down on 79th and Superior. If you're from Cleveland, then you'll know exactly where I'm talking about. I forgot the name of the salon, but it was on the corner. It was a very popular salon. They had an ad in the news. You know how old I am now. They had an ad in the newspaper. Okay, y'all, I'm telling y'all.
I know, right? That's how I got all my jobs in New York.
Hey, I'm telling you guys, back in the day, we had to scroll through the help wanted ads in an actual newspaper. And so I went, and that is how I went into my to apply or make application, as we call it. And do you know? Tell me, can you guess what happened? When I walked in, and I was sharp. I was really sharp. I was ready. You know how they have the contact person. Remember that back in the day? Contact Cheryl Morrow. So I was there to contact Cheryl Morrow. So what do you think happened when I walked in? Y'all, picture key Lolo. I've got my suit, right? And I've got my briefcase.
Were you overdressed?
No, I had on a black suit jacket.
I'm trying to guess what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think happened once I entered?
I am lost for words.
Okay.
The cliffhanger.
You on the cliffhanger? Okay, they laughed my ass right out that hair salon. They laughed at me so hard. And so they were looking clearly for booth renters, but there was no way I could do that. And so they thought I was a joke. And I thought I was ready to be interviewed for a job. I wanted the job. I didn't know, there was no TikTok. There was no Google reviews. We had, what was that, BBB? Remember, what was that?
Better Business Bureau.
Thank you. Better Business Bureau. That was really the only way back in the day if you could find out if a business was legit. And so when you look at the advertisement or the job, search in the newspaper, it looked like like you go look for. I mean, I wouldn't. Anywho, so that was my experience. And so in the chat, Vaughn says they would rather have private sessions with clients. So they want to definitely go into the loft or the salon suite. So again, if you are watching this during the live or post the live, share with Cheryl and I, when you leave school, do you plan to go and work for or with, whichever word you want to use, or do
Yeah,
you just want to go on your own?
yeah, so he said clients would rather go into private suites or clients.
I think, are you saying you, because the question is, do you want to, would you rather work in a hair salon or be by yourself and do your thing? And so the response is private sessions with clients. So I think that's the response. I would
Yeah.
be in that space.
Because it would make sense that clients would want private sessions because hairstylists have not been able to manage their time well. And so if you do
Here we go. That's, come on, now.
what?
Is that,
That's
you just making a generalization like that?
no, that's a problem.
That's a problem. In the chat, we got to
As
hold on. We got to get a vote. The chat, we got some folks in the chat. How many people agree that cosmetologists, barbers, nail techs, skincare professionals have issues with time management? Hmm. And so,
it's also of course that most of them probably have not had apprenticeship, and because and I'm using my own career, of
well,
course.
according to these stylists, I disagree, of course. Now, according to these stylists, they're saying it's the customers are the ones who are. We're going to talk about that too. That was actually going to be our next conversation, our next topic. But it's the customers who are late. It is not us. And so, come on, unpack it, Cheryl, because you're
Well,
saying,
well, 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 well. Let's just say this, and I'm just gonna say this. The moment, and I'm gonna always use me because I'm gonna be keep, as you say, keep it 100 and keep it copacetic, right? Keep it nice and breezy. So I'm gonna use myself. Okay, so now I did not learn this coming out of school. I learned this after training with high end or high profile stylist. Okay. Now, let me just say this. After you're 15 minutes late, you ate up 15 minutes of your time, right? Which means that you're also ate up 15 minutes of my time to have with you. Okay. And then that does entail, and that may run into someone else's 15 minutes that is after you. Okay. So, where does the penalty lie? The question is that where does that 15 minutes, where does that 20 minutes, and where does that 30 minutes late? If we as professionals say, right, but because we're money driven and not production driven and time management driven, at the end of the day, that relaxer or that service is getting cut to 15 to 20 minutes less. Now, as a stylist, where do you put the penalty? Like a team has a violation and you throw a flag, who gets the flag?
flag on the play. Okay. What now Michelle Allen was right there on it. She as you were talking, she had typed in time management problems.
Okay. So
And
so unfortunately, I was making enough to put the penalty on the client. But coming out of school and trying to build a clientele, you cannot do that. Therein lies the issue. So you must. What were you saying?
no. Go ahead.
Okay. And then so at that point, do you set your clients up because you don't want to be put in that position because you're just first starting out, okay? And you have to start like you end. And so when a client is 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, 10 minutes, yeah, you can make up the time in cutting their shampoo 5 minutes or cutting their hair dry. You can eat up that 10 minutes. When it gets to 15 to 20 minutes, you can't.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you have to be able to position yourself just so you can have the right outcome. And so when you're first starting out, I do know that you should have a lot more leeway for concessions until you build up that relationship to say, I can't do this service in 35 minutes.
Right. Okay. So
You
now,
just ate.
Right. You just
So
ate.
you can
So
still
no
come
pun
in
intended.
and I
Right.
can just right. So you can come in and I can do a wash and set or something, but I can't do the full service.
Okay. All right.
Or they schedule. Go ahead.
No, no. So what I was going to say is now that we see, because we can see what some we got
If
time.
you guys claim that it's the client,
Right.
but I would
So
probably say 70-30 is not.
okay. So he says, especially when you're double booking and some stylists and customers come late. So now these two issues here of time management are the perfect segue into the topic of apprenticeship,
Mhm.
right? Training and career coaching. So,
Absolutely.
because in your professional opinion, you feel that one or all three would help circumvent, maybe even prevent, or as we used to say in the world of social work, reduce the likelihood.
Right.
Yeah, we like to say reduce the likelihood of all of these issues that we're talking about. So now, when we come back next week, we are going to talk about fee or foe. Should we be charging for all of this stuff? You know what I'm saying? So we're going to table that till we come back on Monday. But what we want to know right now, exactly, can you define or just say, is there a difference between an apprenticeship training or on the job training and a career coach? Is there a difference, or is this just word play that owners and people like to use to just make you work for free or get your money?
I don't think that the you should have a. I think that, see, once again it comes to having and being a part of organizations. An organization, away from the actual people who would most likely do apprenticeships and training and hair coaching or beauty career coaching, right? There should be a rule of set of norms or a code of conduct that comes from a body that says takes a look at the whole career and where would those voids be better filled for that consummate career, right?
Now,
The
I'm a
people's
little
good.
confused. I'm a little confused because hair salons offer apprenticeship programs and some offer training and some offer coaching. So, can you break down the difference between what an organization and what a salon or barbershop, nail spa, skincare spa, what is the difference between those two?
um if you were doing training, that would be just an outright non-investment into the career. They're just coming to say, I want to learn cutting, curling, and I want to do a certain type of specialty. That would just be a completely separate charge that has nothing to do. Apprenticeship is when that particular person is investing time in you. Also,
Now, when
a
you
lot.
say particular person, because remember, these are cosmetology students, they're listening. So, who's the person? Because they don't understand.
Wait.
I don't want
Okay.
to do apprenticeship. I don't want to do training. I don't need your coaching. I just want to work. And better yet, this is why I'm going into my own loft because I'm not going to
Well,
go
well,
through
let's
your. So let's help them understand when you say
well
who
let's
does
let,
this.
let, let's only talk about right, but let's only talk about the ones who do. Let's just, you know what I mean.
And
So I can
who?
talk about
Who? Okay, give us the who.
people who want apprenticeship, the ones who want training, and the ones who would want coaching. Right, we're only talking about the ones that actually do want it. Or are you talking about
Well,
just
some people
everybody?
don't know what it is. Some people do not know because I've went to hair salons who said they offer apprenticeship when it's actually training. And I've seen people who are offering training when it's kind of structured more like an apprenticeship. Students, they're going into these spaces. That's why I say it's just wordplay. So we need to
Right.
help them because they're going to go and because we're also saying you don't need to just open up a loft. You need to have one of the above. So let's help them. Who should be offering this? Who are the people that are doing, and what is it? What is the difference?
So
Because nobody knows.
right. Okay. So let me go through training again. Okay. Training is a one-on-one transaction. It's transactional. It's, I want to learn one thing from you. Okay. That particular trainer charges them, and that's the end of it. Training is training. It's the same thing if you were going into a webinar or a seminar or a summit. It doesn't matter.
So this can be in the salon or out of the salon, correct?
It doesn't make a difference. You're
Okay.
you're 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 contracting that particular person to learn one thing. Okay. Apprenticeship is an investment. Okay. So with that, you go to that particular salon or hairstylist that you want to be under them. You are going to do a split. Now, apprentice is usually 20% learning, 80% earning. It is a paid gig. Okay. Now, but in my opinion, I'm just saying, in my opinion, it should be turned around. It should be 30% earning and 70% learning, because you're there to understand what you're going to do in your career, and you are mimicking and watching the person, how they deal with clients. You're watching the whole body language. You're mimicking the relationing, how the relationship skills, how they book their clients, with time slots. It's an investment. Okay. Now, if you were going to a branded salon person who had, let's just say, a Paul Mitchell or Vidal Sassoon, Ken Lapine, or Frederick Fakai, okay, you would go to those, or Bumble and Bumble, or Naomi Sims. You are going to a way that they do things. Okay. And so that particular branded salon is investing in you. Okay. Hopefully to work with you, for you to work for them later, or to work for that franchise. So it's much more of an investment. And I like the ratio 70% learning, 30% earning. Okay. Because you're almost like in school again, but you're actually working with a professional and not from a book per se. You have the foundationals. You've already gone to beauty school. You got the foundationals. Now, hair coaching is people who are well in their careers and they're going back, okay, to get organizational skills, okay, the math skills, business school skills. They're going to, how do you do your books? How do you do other things to organize so you can have a different result? Most of the time, those results are going to be financial. I want more income, or I want more tax information to have a different relationship with the IRS. I want to have, so how are you doing that? That is coaching. So I hope I explained the difference in all three.
I would like to give you a super big, fat round of applause. Yeah, you be so good at that. I know you. I know your ass is good because the likes just went up. Okay, and this, and you know what, guys, this is why we are here, because as you can see, I have a total different thing in mind, because when I left cosmetology school, apprenticeships were completely free. You did not get paid at all. Now remember that was 12, almost 27 years ago, but you did not get paid for apprenticeship. But there are some ways that you can get some. Also, she's saying that the apprenticeship is an investment, not only for the salon or the brand owner, but for you as the cosmetologist. Again, now when I was, I was eager to do an apprenticeship. It seemed to be something that was more so for the business. Training was just that. You just got some training as to what keys to open what, where the stuff was located. But you actually said that training is something that you can actually get to learn a specific skill, and then coaching. And this is something that we talked about too on the platform, is that people who want to return, or maybe you're just struggling, you've been in the industry for like 4 to 5 years, and you're just like, I'm just not quite, almost had it.
Right.
This career coaching is really going to be the one for you. And so that, to me, what you just broke down was like the bomb.com. Okay,
Thank you.
so now let's go one step further. Now you talked about who would do these things, okay? And you use some terms that a lot of students may not be aware of. You talked about franchise salons, branded salons, and private owned, and what they may offer by way of the three, okay? So what is a branded salon? And so break those down, or a branded barbershop, or because I'd never heard that before either. So again, this is why we're here. Yeah. So help us out.
Mhm. A branded salon would be when you work for a specific person that has built up a brand and they stand for something. They usually have product lines already. They usually have ways of using things. They usually have a very wide retail area. Okay. And that chair that you now service behind is actually a real estate plot, right? And that real estate is not rent, it's not booth rent. It means that that particular chair, while you're in there and you're behind that chair, you are responsible for that chair earning revenue for that particular branded salon. Let's say you guys remember Jonathan Ashton or something. I think um, they were on, and then you had Tabitha, and then but Jonathan would have his as a reality show, okay, and he would be going through all of the interactions of the daily routines of how he said, "Listen, if you have one of my chairs, okay, that particular customer is coming for the Jonathan Ashton experience. So you have to learn what that experience is, how we do things, how we say hello, how we book, what we do when they first come in. Do we dress them in this? The whole gamut until that customer leaves. You send that, so whatever that is, you are learning how to do things the way as a cosmetologist that he has done that. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's just say I worked for the Willie Morrow Salon, okay, in
Okay.
San Diego. So I have to do everything that that particular brand, what he has built, his reputation, his quality, his craftsmanship. Just like when you buy a Mercedes, you're buying the lineage, you're buying all of the attachments and what the brand stands for. So when now you represent that brand salon, you are now increasing your revenue and value because the branded salon, you are borrowing that particular person's 40, 50, 60 years of reputation. Okay. So those
Wow.
are so much more comfortable because that they're not necessarily coming for you. They're coming in the salon with already built in traffic, already a built in quality expectation, and you're just meeting it because you're trained inside of that business model. And so now, then when they come to you, you are representing that brand, that color, the bags, the product, the method, and that is sometimes because we don't have enough of them in black hair care or textured hair care, natural hair care, those types of salons. The cosmetologist doesn't have a lot of choices to work for those kind of brands. Those are usually the perfect brands like Supercuts and Fantastic Sam's. Those were that brand of the day. And we don't have a lot of them now. So that's what I mean about branded salons. And let's just say, and for your team, in Cleveland, Ladosha, you have the Reverence Design Team brand. They already have a level of expectation because you're there. They know you are keeping everything copacetic. There's a way that you like to do things. They have an expected experience. They know someone's going to greet them when they come in the door. Hello, how are you? There's a protocol. Okay, and so those are the salons that I believe that should become more in numbers so they can have a much more of a branded salon experience. And I think that those are much better than salon lofts, in my opinion.
Oh wow, that was very, very loaded. I'm gonna go ahead on. I got to do that for you right now. I got to drop the bomb on that. Now, again, this is our 13th episode, and this is what this conversation is all about. What is the difference? What is this all about? Apprenticeship, training, career coaching. Please, your questions are welcome. This is what we are here for. Also, if you are an instructor, maybe you own a cosmetology school, share with us what do you think is best for these students who are leaving, because you still have the issue of, well, you know what, sure, I'm just naturally talented. I was blessed with these hands right here. So I got
I got these hands, right?
I got the unk, I'm saying? I got I'm blessed up in here. So what do you say to those people who are like, I'm not doing concept. I don't like training and hair coaching. And when I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Number one, I have blessed hands. Number two, I want my own money. I'm not 70-30 split. Dude, you talking about? Now, I know you don't mean forever. So help them out with the pros and the cons of just sheer raw talent versus, and maybe you could even share how long would a training be? How long would an apprenticeship be? How long would a hair coaching be? Let's get these students ready to understand when you say investment, what that means. They can just come back and well, I'm blessed, sure. I got these gifts from my big mom passed it down. My daddy was a barber. My granddaddy was. When I die, I was a barber. When I come back, that's just the fun I used to say. When I die, I'll be a hairstylist. When I come back to life, I'm gonna be a hairstylist. So that type of a mentality. And again, your questions are welcome. We will answer them post the live. Cheryl always comes back in and answer them. So Cheryl, take it away.
Well, one of the things that, though you have hands, though you have talent, though you have, you have all that swag, you may have, followers, and you've got a bubbling social, you know, social thumbprint, and you've got it, you got some social currency and all that good stuff. Problem is, you don't have a name. And when you don't have a name and you don't have a reputation and you don't have a pedigree, people do not know how to refer you. They don't know how to talk about you. They don't have, just because, alike, you can't inherit anything from it.
What you talking about, Willis?
Well, and let's just be also honest that hair is such a relational kind of business. And so when you don't have a name yet, that is one of the things that I learned going into the biggest market on the planet in New York City. And I allowed myself to be associated with top hairstylists of that time. I didn't necessarily have to put my hands on their clients. They saw the interest, they saw the time I took to sweep around them and get them everything they needed, and I had the conversation. So by the time Rudy and all of them retired, I inherited all I inherited all their money. And the money was their trust, their time. They would say, "Oh, James, I can't find James. What am I going to do?" Cheryl, I would say, "Ma'am, I would come down there and I would do your hair for you. Would that be fine?" "Oh, thank you," because they knew I took time to associate.
So what's the difference between popularity,
Mm-hmm.
and you're saying, like, having, the credibility is, you know,
Good word.
because that's something that, I mean, like, I'm like a person, I'm not, so please, I'm just kilo low. But there are some people who are really, really popular, and then, but you're talking about something different from popularity. Am I correct?
There's a word in when money gets real big and you're talking about millions of dollars, and you get, there's one word that they attach to that kind of value. And the word is called a trustee. A trustee means that I'm going to give you my most prized possession, right? It could either be my body, because who has the greatest trustee? probably on the planet, usually doctors, because we expect them to perform at a level that we trust them. Okay. And so we have to invest in, and one of the reasons why salon brands are because they're trusted, they're tried and true. They have a pedigree already, they have a reputation already. When you go into their salons, you inherit that just by default. And what you do with that, and that's why I say, if people are even going to open salons, I would not just open one that just for people to be chair earners, to have branded salons, to put your brand on the line. So somebody says, well, where do you work? Oh, I work at Ted Gibson. Oh, that's automatic, a kind of association. It's the same reason why we buy designer clothes. You know, I buy Michael Kors versus Prada, or Prada Bottega Veneta. You know what I mean? Or Dolce & Gabbana. It's the association that that person put in years of their reputation. So now I trust Paul, you know what I mean? Ralph Lauren, Blue Label, because I just trust the years that they put into it. We need that in Black hair care, is what I'm saying. So these students can have choices to say, oh my God, I would love to get into, the Reverence design team, or I would love to get into work with next to Ladosha and have my chair next to hers, or I would love to work for Cheryl Mara. You know what I mean? Because they know that if I take them on an apprentice, I'm going to make sure that they're well fed.
So popularity would not yield any of those things. Wow.
No.
Wow.
No. Yeah, because the popularity is still doesn't have the word trustee on it. Yeah. It's almost like this. Just because, a certain car is popular doesn't mean that it's going to be picked over Audi. And Audi hasn't advertised in 50 years, but somehow Audi keeps managing to be one of the top. Porsche keeps managing because it is the reputation. It's what the quality stands for. And I think that is worth investing in. And so when you work and you say, who's the top in that city? Oh, Ladosha Wright. Get in line for that apprenticeship, because something's going to rub off on you. And what's going to rub off on you is her standard, it's her expectation, is her quality of what she does, the craftsmanship. So when you leave, you take that away, right? And you take all those good things that you've learned. That's going to serve you over the 360 of your career versus the popularity for that moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal. Ted Gibson status. Yo, Ted, we shouting you out. The students know who you are.
I don't even know how he does it. I just knew that was one of those names. But
right, he does. He has that reputation. And I'll just give my Ted Gibson story. I tell it all the time. I did. I just reached out to Ted Gibson on Facebook. It was like, yo, if you ever need somebody at the fashion, week, I will pass your hairpin. I will sweep up your hair. And you know what? He did not need me, but he was so kind to respond and to let me know that he definitely had his share of assistance, but he wished me well in my career and encouraged me to do what you said. Look local. You don't have to leave Cleveland and come to New York and sleep on the streets.
I didn't do that.
Because New York, when you want these careers, New York is very expensive to live. California is very expensive to live. And if you want to go to these places and do these types of things, he was very kind to say, you don't have to do that. Because I definitely said, I will come there, I will spend my money. He was like, no. That this is talent in your own backyard. So can you speak to that, looking for that apprenticeship, that training, and that hair coaching that could just be right in the places where we live, because everybody is ready to leave and run to Atlanta, run to California, go to Hollywood, go to New York. And here's Ted saying, you'd be surprised where your grass is planted, what's right there where you are. So speak
Absolutely.
to that. Speak to that.
Absolutely. And I think that it also comes with being with, it's kind of, start when you're in the middle of school and trying to find out where you're weak and what you want to improve on, and don't wait to the last minute to where your search is kind of skewed because you've got to do something. Don't wait until that particular moment. You should always be connecting no matter what level you are in school. Hey, I'm in school, just wanted to come by and see what you guys offer. And do you guys are interested in apprenticeships? My name is this one. I'm in beauty school right now, but I'm good at this and I'm good at that. I'm good at this. If you don't mind me coming by, just to watch or whatever the case, create a relationship, people. Don't wait until the last minute to where you have to now bargain your own time, your own future. Now you're bargaining it because now you're discounting it because you don't have time and you feel desperate. Don't discount it. Don't bargain with it. You're in school for at least 10 months. That's a lot of time to create relationships, especially
Mm.
within a 20-mile radius. Go do it. Okay. And when you're in school and you're not, and remember, you're never really in competition. There's enough customers to go around. If you study
Mm.
what you want to do and where it's, if you study it. And I just think that they'll be a lot more open to your interests once you are show your interest in them. And I think that they're just so much more open on a local market, and they'll be more than healthy, more than um, say yes. Yes, sure.
Okay. All
They'll be more
right.
on the local level, in my opinion.
All
What?
right. So, Cheryl, you heard it from Cheryl and you heard it from Ted via my story that you do not have to run to New York. You don't have to be the starving artist and fly to
Right.
California. Put your kids at, sorry, kids, unless you live with your dad. I want to be the next, Andre Walker and Ted Gibson. The
Right.
professionals that they don't recommend that, and I'm going to agree with Vaughn, the beautician. He said that's the goal, and that is the goal. Whether it's you can put any stylist name you want on the end of that status, but guys, we don't have to do that. But what we do have to do is take a few moments out, just right quick, and hit that thumbs up button because we got some good viewership in the chat. So Cheryl, sure what they can do to help change the narrative about becoming an apprentice. Well, not becoming, but entering an apprentice program, training, or getting you a professional business coach. Here we go. Show
All
them how
right,
to do
one, two, three, let's hit it.
it. Yeah. Wow, this time has really flown, and
I know,
Cheryl,
right?
you have just been phenomenal with this subject matter, and I know that the barber, the cosmetology, nail techs, skincare, estheticians are really, really, really appreciative of this content. I know the school owners and school instructors are like, finally, somebody else is saying what we have been saying. And in case you're wondering, how did you guys come up with the concept to even do this podcast? Big ups to Miss Samaria Smith. She will be finishing up cosmetology school and graduating in the coming weeks. And she was our intern here. And when we were like, well, what can we do to, do something different, make our podcast better? It was the intern who said, you guys need to focus on the students. And so, again, thank you so much, Miss Samaria, and to her cosmetology instructor as well over at Heights High School. So this is why we're here. As we wrap this up, Cheryl, in closing, what's the downside, to those who are like, I appreciate you, Kilolo, and I appreciate you here, Oracle, but I got these blessed hands right here. And I'm going to take my chance and I'm going to go and I'm going to rent that loft. I'm going to get that. I'm going to double up, ante up. I'm going to get my salon suite. I'm going to go to the dollar store. I'm going to go to IKEA. I'm going to outfit this baby invest about 800 to $3,000, and I'm going for it. Help them out as we wrap this up.
The downside could be, just feeling ostracized. But I will say, you know, the deviation curve is not in your favor in terms of the distance between a mistake and the distance, because you're going to be the sole one responsible. And what you don't know is going to be much more detrimental if you are by yourself and you did not get a coach or training or an apprentice, because there are professional kinks you guys don't really see coming.
But I really don't want to work for. That's my struggle. I don't want to work for Ladosha. I get Kilo Low. I ain't working for her. Help them
Well,
out.
when you do buffering inside a greater salon, you're not working for um for anyone. But I will say this, and someone has been in the field a while. Um, your concept of not working for someone should not be based on not having a boss. Because entrepreneurs who turn wanting to get rid of the boss should not be even nowhere in the top 20 of why you should go it by yourself. So getting rid of the boss,
What you talking about, Willis?
right? Most people think
Hold on. You would have blew me back with that one, because that's the new thing. X the boss.
Yeah.
Be your own boss. And you're saying, I know
You
we
want to
got
be
a few
the
minutes, but get it.
yeah. You want to be the boss without management skills. You want to be the boss without having CEO skills. You want to be the boss without having boss skills. And boss skills and CEO and executive skills and running a business has nothing to do with being alone and not having a boss to tell you what to do. That's not a reason to go solo, and that's not a reason to go entrepreneurial. That's just a person having very low tolerance for authority. Because if you were to work for me, let's just say, or work for a person like Ladosha, yes, you would be under our authority. But at the end of the day, the deviation curve is that I'm also responsible for making you a top earner. And that investment just outweighs the fact that you want to get rid of the boss. And so we would be doing management of your progress to the point where one day I can say, look at that goddamn woman. Look at that goddamn man. That came out of a concerted effort because that person acquired skills. Now they are $1 million a year salon. And that is the goal, not to just be Ted Gibson, but to do as Ted Gibson, to be as Ted Gibson, to feel like Ted Gibson. It's more of an alchemy. So it's more organic it's about the embodiment of what those subsequent things that make Ted who he is what you need to embody. And then you need to make it your own. And we help you do that. You can't really do that just because you got your mind focused. I don't want nobody telling me what to do. And so, unfortunately, don't do that, y'all. Stop that. Don't do that.
Wow. That is, woo, I'm telling you, I'm with you. Excellent information, Cheryl. Top experience. This is, man, these podcasts, they just get better. They're like the whispers, it just gets better with time. Or what Kendrick Lamar say, they not like us, so they not like us, bottom line. I can't play it because we ain't getting flagged this time. So you'll have to go listen to it yourself. But that is a dope track. They're not like us, There's something to be said about weathering the course of building your acumen. Don't put the cart before the horse. We know you guys are ready and you're anxious to get out there and get that money. But you're talking about for the long haul. This ain't a hustle, right? This is not a hustle. This is not a career to come and get your hustle. These are all the topics that we're going to be discussing, in the future. Like, what's the difference between, hustle and muscle and these types? Because these are the things that you guys are saying that you want to do. And this is also your rationale for why you want to, go out there and be, as the new word is, unbossed. But we hope you have learned so much today. We're going to be back next week, and we're going to table this conversation a little bit longer because we didn't have enough time as we go into tiers and levels, because that's one thing. Like, are you a beginner? Are you new? Because this is all associated with how much you should be charging, and you want to charge these fees, okay? So we're going to talk about that when we come back next week. Fee or foe? Is this going to work for you or against you? But we're going to start that conversation off by continuing this discussion on tiers, right? Beginner, intermediate, master style. Everybody's a master stylist. But now they're saying, I'm going to charge you. I'm going to charge you for that, okay? I'm going to charge you if you're late. I'm going to charge you. So we're going to talk about these no-show fees and all this other good stuff based on your level. Any closing thoughts, Cheryl, on this topic of apprenticeship, training, and getting a career coach? Because you did the bomb job. You rocked it out today.
Well, I just appreciate that. Thank you guys for the confidence. Just put your best foot forward. And sometimes just take a risk your ego, risk it all, and invest in relationships that are probably going to be invaluable to you 20 years later. They're going to be like, wow.
And I want to testify. I did work in a branded salon. It was called Today's Headlines. I tried to do that booth rental thing. I'm going to tell you, I flopped. I just didn't have it. I do have the gift of gab, but that only going to get you.
Right.
You can't talk your way. You got to know what you're doing, guys. You really, really do. And I worked at Today's Headlines. I worked under Teresa Mercadante. I had the blessed opportunity to work under Jay Valadez. My career would not be where it was if it was not for Olive Benson. So I'm just going to say, I just want to testify.
Absolutely.
There is something to be said about the apprenticeship. Yeah,
my mentor, like you said, I would not trade those years for nothing.
It was I got my fingers popped. I cried. I'm not going to. I lost some tickets. I'm not going to lie. It was not easy. But then there would be no Key Lolo, and there would be no Cheryl Morrow. So you still got to do it. Makes your boat floats. But we hope that this has helped you make a better decision as you advance in your education in barbering, cosmetology, nails, and of course aesthetics. Okay, so we're going to be back next week again. We're talking about that fee or foe. All right. In the meantime, you can come back here and join us at 6:00, and it is all about. I cannot do my child's afro hair. That's the dumbest shit that people say about black hairs. I can't do this. I got this baby. I done had this little boy, this little girl. I got all these kids, and I cannot do these kids' hair. And it's because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And we hope that you guys are seeing right now what happens to your mental when you're just not emotionally in the right place, as Cheryl would say. So join us here back at 6:00. And then on Thursday, we're going to be talking about that fear and anxiety to charge money. That is a big issue in the industry. I see it here in the salon all the time. I've had people just break down and cry, panic stricken, true anxiety over raising your prices, but being so broke. Or raising them too high and you lost customers, So yeah, we're going to talk about that on Planet Pluto Pseudo. And sure, you got to help us out. The industry, we're struggling with that. So that's a lived anxiety that leads to a lot of mental health issues. As this topic here tonight, you're stressing over. I mean, this morning you're stressing over, should I go work for or should I just go and get my own? That causes people a lot of anxiety, and they put their families and their finances in some very interesting, places. And we don't want you guys to make those mistakes. Okay.
Wow.
All right. Okay. So two dynamic topics tonight and on Thursday. And you know what we say when we're signing out, right, guys? Good, better, best. Never, ever, ever. We don't care what anybody says. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. And we'll see you back here, cosmetology students, barbers, nail techs, estheticians, school owners, and instructors. We'll see you guys back at 12:30 in the chat. Big ups. Peace out. To Michelle Allen, Vaughn, the beautician, and my boss, Lavina Joseph. Don't forget, guys, drop your questions in the chat and email us at afrohairscience@gmail.com to get more information and lots of supplemental material to help you advance in your love of hair, skin, and nails. All right, deuces, show. So, you think you can do hair? Then join us every Monday at 12 o'clock on the Afro Hair Science YouTube channel.
Tell me what you